with breaking.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's leading initiative in the business of brand management and in the management of brand business. It is an awesome 30 minutes package that comprises brand news, brand in focus, and industry conversation, all in a mix encompassing thorough and in-depth, all aimed at promoting the brand idea. I am Oluwabukola Omani.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Good to have you back. First on Marketing Edge on TV is brand news, where we bring you the latest development around brands and in the field of marketing, advertising and communication in Nigeria and around the world. Now on brand news. Following the low turnout of Nigerian creative agencies at the recently concluded Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity in France, Steve Babeko, Chief Executive Officer of Extreme Ideas and President, Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria, has attributed Nigerian agencies' scanty representation to the incessant fluctuation in foreign exchange as well as the global economic headwinds. Speaking during an exclusive interview with Marketing Edge on TV, the seasoned ad man averred that the noticeable absence of Nigerian agency at this year's Cannes was more of economics than any other reason.
Apart from the low turnout of Nigerians at the event, even the low turnout of entries from Nigeria, purely economics. And I'll give you an example. If there was a small agency in Estonia, small European country, right? That is like the size of Extreme Ideas. They are billing, they make their money in euro, right? If their entry for Cannes Lions, I don't know how much it is for one entry, if it's 500 euro or 750 euro, as the case may be. They've earned money in euro, so they are doing one for one. Now, let it get to the turn of a Nigerian agency. They've earned money in Naira. They have to do 850 or 900 to 1. So you're already disenfranchised. And not to talk of the same, you see what the airline industry is even doing to us right now. We're paying more for tickets for the same journey, the same distance compared to our neighbors in West Africa. So that already has put us in a back foot when it comes to being able to afford the kind of resources that would help us be majorly present in some of those festivals.
Global beverage giant, the Coca-Cola Company, has released its half-year report for 2023, showing a strong and continued momentum in a dynamic operating environment. According to the company, its net revenues grew by 6% to $12 billion and organic revenues by 11%. It adds that its revenue performance included 10% growth in price and mix and 1% growth in concentrate sales. Coca-Cola says its concentrate sales were 1 point ahead of unit case volume, largely due to the timing of concentrate shipments. The global beverage giant revealed that its operating margin was 20.1% versus 20.7% in the prior year, while comparable operating margin was 31.6% versus 30.7% in the prior year. It noted that operating margin decline was primarily driven by items impacting comparability and currency headwinds. James Quincy, Chairman and CEO of the Coca-Cola Company, speaking on the company's growth, said, and I quote, "I am encouraged that our all-weather strategy working together with our bottling partners, has delivered strong second quarter results. End of quote. The company gained value share in total non-alcoholic ready-to-drink beverages, while its EPS grew by 34% to $0.59 and comparable EPS grew 11% to $0.78. And Schumacher, Unilever CEO, has reiterated its determination to elevate product superiority to be top priority for the company. The CEO said this is amid modest margin growth in the first half of the financial year. The Unilever boss emphasized this while delivering his first address to investors since he took the leadership baton from Alan Jobe. I want to see more of our products performing better than the competition, Schumacher emphasized during a recent investor call on July 25th. Meanwhile, Unilever's latest result showed that less than half of the company's business, which is 41%, was winning share on a rolling 12-month basis, reflecting the need for improved product performance in the highly competitive market. That was brand news. Next is Brand in Focus after this break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Now on Branding Focus. Over the last 2 years and still counting have been a watershed moment for the tech world as some major innovations such as Meta was launched, with every brand from Apple, Microsoft and Google jumping on the Metaverse bandwagon for a slice of the potentially lucrative pie that an immersive 3D internet will bring. Thereafter, OpenAI broke the generative AI mold with the launch of ChatGPT, a new breed of chatbot with an uncanny ability to generate near-perfect human-like text. The fundamental questions and widespread debate within the business and marketing circle is, what do all this mean for the future of business and marketing? More importantly, where should marketers and businesses be hedging their bets? What are the potentials of Metaverse and AI on brands? When Metaverse appeared on the scene, every brand and business wanted in. With its non-fungible tokens, wearables and avatars, it had brands clamoring to offer their audiences an absolutely out-of-this-world experience. It promised immersive experience where there are avatars and games, wearables and digital tokens, especially to Gen Zs and the millennials who grew up playing online games. Games with rich imagery and fantasy, which makes them the perfect passengers to take on a trip to the metaverse. However, AI is a different ballgame altogether. It has been said that AI will completely transform and drive marketing. Where there is a lot of data and a great need for personalization, AI can help shape better customer experiences and enable better predictability of outcomes. What's more, AI can do wonders with segmentation by splitting customers into various groups based on specific characteristics, gender, age, income level, interest, and a zillion other criteria. It can power the mapping of what will work with whom. In fact, AI can enable brands to connect with millions of prospects with 100 different variations of marketing messages and help them track and measure their effectiveness almost instantly. AI powers creativity with regards to design and content. Well, that was Brand in Focus. Next is Industry Conversation, where we have discussions with industry thought leaders who have distinguished themselves in the business of brand management and in management of brand business. We will be continuing our conversation with AKONTE EKINE, the lead strategist, Absolute PR, just after the break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Going about that, I wanted to ask, the CVA, is it benchmark or role modeled against any awards in or outside Nigeria?
Okay, so the first thing is that over the years, as a practitioner of communication, we've seen a lot of things. We see the Marketing Edge Award. We take our learnings from it. We see the POCT Award. We take our learnings from it. We see Oscar. We take our learning from it. But we say to ourselves, in all the markets, the India market, the US market, what do they do? What they look for is empirical evidence. Do we have empirical evidence? To some extent, you can say, oh, my sales number gives me right to claim number one in the market. That's sales. But we are saying empirical evidence by consumer votes. Where do we stand? So we are looking around, we are studying other awards, we are seeing methodologies. But one thing we are holding on to is that technology has given us a breakthrough. Come and vote for your brand and get your brand validated. So we are learning from what we see in Oscar. We're learning from what we see from the people that have gone ahead of us to do awards, to see where the positives and the negatives. But one of the biggest things we think we have been able to catch is the fact that we can't go wrong with the numbers. If I tell you 10 people voted for you, and you want to contest it, we'll tell you to go to the website.
Okay, great. So I know that this year's CVA is the second edition.
Yeah.
But what would you describe as the impact of the award so far?
Okay. The idea is to raise conversation around consumer rights.
Okay.
So in the last 1 year, because we also added a radio program at the beginning of this year, in the last 1 year, we have stoked the conversation a little bit about consumer rights. We've been able to let people, because we see social media following, we see articles in the papers, we see social conversations, we see that there's increase. I get calls on my phone. People are asking me about, where is the address of Lagos State Consumer Protection Agency? And what do I need to do about this? And that's what we want to achieve. We want to celebrate brand as a vehicle to getting people to know their rights as consumers. And I think that we are getting there.
Okay, great. So talking about empirical evidence, like you mentioned earlier, what has your team, what new insight has your team gained into measuring consumer perception of brands into, through those value words?
Okay, so we realized that some brands all of a sudden get to what they call contentment and saturation and live in their past glory until they are shocked by their bottom line. And we realize that some brands also are very cocky and some are very arrogant about how they do things. And some don't even want to change their style. But that's not our business. Our business is to continue to observe the market and see the market response to introductory, There's a brand again, because I have to be careful about revealing some identities. There's a brand today that ordinarily from afar you will say is not doing anything. But my God, the brand is taking all the old names to the cleaners in that category. So us is that, look, any brand that is innovative and is chasing the consumer's pocket appropriately, because it's all about the battle of the share of pocket, from the share of mind and the share of shelf. If you chase the pocket of the consumer, you will innovate. If you don't innovate, then you stay on the shelf and you even lose in the shelf fight. So you can spend all your money trying to do all the noise making to win the share of mind. But if your product is not adapting to the pocket size of the consumer with what we are going through, you will be a loser in the marketplace.
Great, that's a valuable lesson there. So I wanted to ask, to what extent is the CVA consolidate on efforts to protect consumer rights?
Okay, so we started out with a consumer program on radio, and we do hope that as we continue to journey, we will have that space to do that consumer advocacy initiative appropriately. What we are doing now is just attempting to try and start the conversation. And by the way, there is a woman that we must commend, Mrs. Shola Salako-Ajulo. She's been playing a major role in trying to ensure that we even deliver the right set of message. She calls and advises. She even counseled us on the website on how to ensure that it's error-free and all those things. So we are getting feelers on how to do better. But we know that our biggest hope is having that platform that will consistently enable government to also play their role, because there is a Consumer Rights Act that I know that most people will say that, oh, I think I've heard, but they've not opened it. We need to engage them to see it, you know. And hopefully in another next consumer rights event, we'll be launching the particular platform for the public to see.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask about messages. As the award thrown up, you know, any messages from brand owners, you know, what are the messages populating? You know, are brand owners responding to these messages?
Well, I can say that with the calls that we've gotten, they are responding. We've gotten serious calls. People have called us to say, oh, who is behind it? And I said, why do you want to know who is behind it? What is happening is that there's something for you to be part of. If you are interested, be part of it. If you don't want, just ignore it. Some wrote to us to say, oh, we don't want you to measure us, pull us out of it. And we did that. The brand wrote specifically and said, we don't want you to measure us. Another set says, that, can we validate what we are doing? I said, sir, there's nothing to validate. Just be looking at the numbers on the screen. And every morning, if you want to know if you are doing well, you know, so we have insurance companies, we have banks, we have pension funds that have come. Of course, the banks are also very arrogant, but we don't care. They have the worst set of service, but they are dealing with us like we don't have a choice. But you see, thank God for virtual banks, the fintechs, they are doing well, and they are taking them to the cleaners. Like I always say to people, that by the time the banks will realize what has hit them, yes, we would have all moved to carrying our bank in our phones with all our zillions. And then they will have their big building with offices that are empty. Of course, they are brothers, but that's what's going to happen.
With none of our money in it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, the awards, is it facing any teething problems? What are these problems? What challenges is the award still facing?
Okay, so
and how are you dealing with them?
The first thing is trust. That's the first thing. I hear a lot of people say, oh, can we trust your process? I say yes. The second is that we ourselves can't even trust the people that we are dealing with. The society itself lacks trust. We are struggling. There's a trust deficiency in our economy, in our political space. So we are not immune from many of those things. We are part of it. So in various spheres of our life, as a society, as a business, trust is deficient. So we are going through that battle of trying to establish sincerity amongst ourselves, sincerity of purpose, first and foremost, and then sincerity of the dream and ambition that we have set. Because nobody gave us this assignment. We just woke up from somewhere and said, look, this is possible, and we are trying to do it.
So what are the plans for the future editions of the Consumer Value Awards in terms of expanding the categories and participation by brand owners and consumers?
Okay, so we are going to jump the gun by answering that question. Let's succeed again today. But obviously, what we hope to achieve is get to a point where in this country, when you look around, you can easily say, oh, this brand is standing right for a reason, and consumers supported the brand. You know, and there's always the need for us to say, look, some brands are very strong in the region. So we'll get to a situation where we'll say we have regional champions, you know, in the north, in the south, in the east. Some brands are not meant to be everywhere in Nigeria, but they are doing well. One of the brands that came into the category is the mattress. Last year, we never had a category for mattress, but this year we have mattress. And two brands are really competing very well.
Wow.
You know, and I said to myself, if these two brands are competing, maybe because they have always been the national brand. Because there are brands that I also know somewhere in the north that I thought that if we had gotten them nominated, they might perform to a good degree. So we can't say that we are staying and doing national subjects and not continue to grow our number. So there is room for us to grow. I suspect that for us to have achieved 52 different categories of brands with 300 different brands, if we move into year 3, we will do another 25% on that numbers.
Great. Okay, so I want to talk about the Consumer Value Awards and Absolute PR, your firm. So is the Consumer Value Awards impacting on the vision, corporate standing, and functions of your agency, Absolute PR?
Okay, so Absolute PR team are those that created the Consumer Value Awards initiative. And it's important to commend them for that. But the Absolute PR vision itself is just to try as much as possible to be one of the best firms in offering public relations services. So what we have done is to use these Consumer Value Awards to speak the language of the government, because it's a government responsibility to create platform to educate consumers. Understand? But if government is not doing it and have created an art that can enable us to play with those arts, I think the right thing for any business to do is to look for the opportunity to do that. So we have a brand exchange, which we have tagged the voice or the mind of the consumers, with the responsibility to drive the Consumer Value Awards. So Absolute PR is only offering media services to brand exchange. Brand exchange is running the Consumer Value Award.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about PR industry where you apply your trade. What is your assessment of the industry in Nigeria in recent times?
I think I always say the same thing. It's permanently evolving. Corporations are beginning to accept the strength of PR positively, and they are taking it wholeheartedly. So there is an improvement in various areas of practice, and the only challenge, again, is like I always say, we are not different from every other thing in Nigeria. Everything in Nigeria is affecting PR practice. If you have anything good in Nigeria, it's affecting PR practice. If you have anything bad in Nigeria, it's all up on PR practice. Because ultimately, what PR does for a nation or for individual is to give you better conversations that increases and improves your sensibility and ownership.
Okay, so let's talk about from your professional entrepreneurial perspective. How does the current state of PR practice? I know you said that anything good or bad in Nigeria affects the PR practice, but how does the current state of PR practice in Nigeria compare to contemporary advertising in Nigeria?
Okay, we have always seen them as our cousins. We are not at par. I like to be very sincere. We are not at par. And the size of PR itself includes advertising. But there is a challenge in the marketplace where people don't even see it like that. Because ideally, you can't be talking PR without certain elements of advertising. But with technology, like I told someone some reason, marketing technology has enabled us to even forget that there is a thin line between PR and advertising. Because what you do ultimately with any message is to win people, whether you are using the advertising tool or you are using various tools of PR. But marketing technology has created a situation where all we try to do is delivering value to that audience for the audience to respond properly. So whilst we are not at par, we have also enjoyed that situation where the line itself is blurred now between them. And if I go to a PR agency or an advertising agency, what I'll be asking is, what can you do to help my message get across to Mr. B in such a way that Mr. B will get, an HR company is talking to us, for instance. And what we've told the person is that if you're able to adapt X, Y, Z, you will see the results.
Okay, so what would you say are the missing links in the growth and development of modern PR practice in this climate?
In this climate.
If yes,
training,
what are they? And if no, why not?
Training, knowledge. That's the necessity. Training, knowledge. You know, there are talents everywhere. But how many people will you see on the street that will tell you that, oh, I want to be a PR person? And if they are, where are the training places? You know, where are the schools? Where are the curriculums that, yes, can push people to say, look, this is what we need to learn to be able to deliver on PR?
Great. So talking about the new narrative, what would you say PR agencies need to do to remain relevant and find new growth opportunities going forward?
Okay, so maybe Consumer Value Award is a new growth opportunity for us. But what we all need is to continue to innovate. I did a couple of Q&A some days back, and I was telling somebody that, look, the big question is, what do I do that brings bread on my table? Have you heard the story of the gazelle and the lion? The gazelle, if it doesn't run as fast as possible, as it could, the lion will turn him to food. And if the lion does not run well to catch the gazelle, he will starve. So if you don't want to starve, it's that you run very well, not to be eaten, or you run well enough to find food. So you must innovate. As a PR firm, you must just innovate. You must create something that will engage in conversations between the public. Something that will make the coin to come into the bin.
You have heard it all. It's all about you, the consumer. And we have been speaking with the lead strategist at Absolute PR, AKONTE EKINE. Thank you for staying tuned to Marketing Edge on TV. I am Oluwabukola Omoni. See you same time next week. Bye.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
So, all in favor say aye. Those against no, the ayes have it.
What do you know about the legislature, its role in governance, and as one of the three arms of government? Lagos Parliament is here to bring it to you as it is. Here to bring you every detail you need to know about the legislature in Africa's most populous city. On Lagos Parliament, you get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week. Events are critically reviewed. You can also observe plenary in Yoruba language. I am Abimbola Agbebi. Join me every Friday at 9 p.m. as I take you through the activities of the legislature.
Have you been thinking of where to acquire knowledge without stress and inconvenience? Then what are you waiting for? The National Open University of Nigeria is the place to be. For up-to-date information about the National Open University's programs and activities, join me, Lulu Bankong, on NOUN Update, showing on this station every Friday at 12:30 p.m.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company, not just in Nigeria, but throughout continental Africa, to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.